Hello everyone, my name is Awat and I'm the developer of Awat's Otherworldly Maps. Awat Unknown has received some significant changes in the upcoming update and I'll be detailing them today. These updates should be available within 1 or 2 days after Demeter's release. Awat Unknown is by far my most popular map. I thank you all for the support so far. Awat Unknown was made during a time that I wasn't the best at map making, but now that my skills have grown a little bit, I've gone back and given Awat Unknown the love it needed. Hopefully it reflects when you guys play on the map. My first order of business was cleaning up a lot of old code that left some of the biomes looking like it was stitched together. Previously, the terrain on the ground might not mix with the terrain that spawned with certain features such as cliffs, ponds, or gorges. Now those terrains have been adjusted to either use the same type of terrain on the ground or to have minimal contrast with it, making for more seamless generations. This has allowed me to open up to more possibilities now. So if you play the grass version, you'll notice that the grass will change color more significantly now than it used to, now that I've overcome this obstacle. Additionally, I am introducing 2 new biomes. One of them is called Alternative. I couldn't quite put a name on this one, but for the most part, this one serves as a bridge between biomes. It will generate either as a bridge between the grass biome and the dirt biome, the grass biome and the snow biome, or the grass biome and the tundra biome. The second new biome added was Savanna. Previously, the desert had a chance to kind of look like the savanna, but it wasn't quite there, it looked kind of off, and its features sometimes clash with the desert look. So now I've separated the two, with the savanna getting its own dedicated generation, and any piece of lush has been removed from the desert biome to maximize the contrast between these two. However, I know that they are still similar. As a result, I'm introducing a new mechanic called sub-biome. Sub-biomes will have a lower chance to roll than the normal biomes. To begin, both savanna and marsh should be classified as sub-biomes, marsh being classified as sub-biome of grass, and savanna being classified as a sub-biome of desert. They will have their own rolls, but have a significantly lower chance of being rolled compared to other biomes. I originally considered putting the alternative biome in this category, but given that it can vary in 3 different ways, snow, tundra, dirt, I've given it the same chance as the others. After significant playtesting, I agree that this was the correct move. Additionally, the underworld has had its ability to spawn ponds removed, and overall its height variation should be less drastic, making it significantly easier for you to see the forest line now, since the underworld forest line appears as black on the minimap instead of the usual dark green that makes it easy to see. Additionally, the lighting for Marsh's nighttime has been changed. Instead of having a deep purple filter over it, it will now have a light blue filter over it. The lighting in the daytime will remain the same though. The hunt on this map has been adjusted significantly. The ranges lead to the same average, but have extended so the opportunity has been opened up so that there will be some matches where you have significant food and some matches where you have low food. However, the starting hunt has remained the same, and you'll consistently start with a good amount of starting hunt. I've made a change so that green pheasants and golden pheasants no longer spawn alone. A lot of people complained to me that they were hard to see, but a lot of people also liked them. So being you guys in the middle, I kept them, but I also made sure that they would spawn next to a bigger animal so that you would naturally go towards the bigger animal and see the smaller ones next to it. On top of the great amount of cleanup I've done to the existing biomes, there has been a significant amount of bugs that have been fixed. These bugs were rare and were unlikely to affect people, but now they have been fixed anyway, making for a better experience for all players. Additionally, the things that can spawn in the center of the map have been changed. Fundamentally, they can no longer spawn in 1v1, with the exception of the extra town center and the extra relic still being able to spawn in 1v1s. However, all the things that are capturable, like you walk up to it and claim it, have not been enabled in 1v1 anymore. Speaking of, the pool of which items that spawn like that have been changed. The peach tree blossom has been removed in place of a Hesperides tree, and the chance for the lake shrine have been removed. The reason behind these changes was I wanted these things to be things that did not appear in other maps in Awat's Otherworldly maps. Additionally, the Plenty Vault has been nerfed. The Plenty Vault that spawns on this map now uses a different version from the game's code that should only grant 1 of each resource per second instead of 4 of each resource per second. Even in larger team games, this was proving too strong to have in the early game, so hopefully this will make the center item have less impact. A bunch of forests have been reshuffled on the map. Some have been removed and some have been added. Overall, there were more additions than subtractions in this map, so there will be more forest variety overall. The ones removed were the ones that were particularly boring and didn't stand out too much, with the exception being the Underworld Forest. The Underworld Forest stood out too much with their vibrant colors, and it was generally agreed upon by the community that it looked very outstanding. So I have replaced them with mostly dead trees and a little bit of green variety here and there that are accompanied by more dead trees to keep the Underworld aesthetic intact. On the bright side, a lot of the colorful forests that have been removed in the Underworld have been added to the alternative biome, so you should be able to find them there. Alongside there, you'll be able to find a lot of green and other colors mixing together in the alternative biome, serving as the only way to get colorful forest with green grass, as the completely green grassy biome will only have green trees still, with the exception of one tree type, being that the peach tree blossom tree type has been added to the grass version. This was because the peach tree was the most unused tree after it was removed from the Underworld for looking too much like gums. It was only left in the winter version, so I went ahead and added to the grass version to increase the probability of using the peach tree. I did consider adding it to other versions, but it looked too outlandish there, or in the tundra version's case, it looked too similar to sunlight strands. Hopefully both the terrain and the forest reshuffles lead to more variety, and with the new cleanup I did, those varieties shouldn't look too bad, and it should no longer clash with the natural features that spawn, such as cliffs, gorges, or ponds. Speaking of ponds, they have all been adjusted. The code that allowed things to spawn in ponds have now been disabled, with the exception of very few things such as animals, but you will now notice other things such as trees, berries, and gold not spawning there. This makes the maps look a lot better, but has a chance to increase unfairness. But if you're playing AWAT Unknown, I doubt you care too much for fairness. Additionally, I've cleaned up a lot of the visual relating to pawns so that it'll blend in with the minimap for the most part. Instead of having that harsh contrast white, or in the Underworld's case, for some reason having the same color as the forest line, it should now mostly be the same color as the terrain itself. And visually, the terrain surrounding the pawn should be much better and blend in more naturally with the biomes now. There's also a relic change that affects all my maps that has been implemented. Basically, if you play on standard size, you shouldn't notice any difference, but on larger map sizes, there will be less relics now, because previously it was spawning way too much relics on larger map sizes. Also, to increase the geological randomness of the map, I'm adding cliffs, not the passable ones that we already have in the game, but ones that you cannot pass through at all. This was actually a feature intended for the original version of AWAT Unknown, and in the beta version, which didn't make it to the public, it was there. I must have removed it somewhere along the line during production, for testing or for debugging. I just forgot to add it back in. That's pretty funny that this feature just didn't exist because I forgot about it. But yeah, I look forward to welcoming it back nearly a year later. As usual, AWAT Unknown is a very large project, so please forgive me if I miss a bug or two. If you encounter any bugs or unusual issues, please report it on the forums. There will be a link in the description below that will lead directly to the page on the forums for my mod. Last update, I thought we were good and dandy, but I managed to somehow miss a bunch of bugs. Because I was inexperienced when I made this map, the map is programmed overall in a really bad way, which makes it really large and inefficient, and sometimes a bug slips through the crooks and nannies. But for the most part, I've worked on this for a week now, reviewing the code over and over. I haven't seen anything, so I hope I deliver a very reasonable and presentable experience for you all. There might have even been some other changes I made, but just completely forgot to mention in this video because it's been so long with me working on it. And I apologize for that, but I guess you'll just have to find out. AWAT Unknown is very popular online, so if you join a lobby online and the person is using the AWAT Unknown map, please ask them if they have updated their game. If two players with different versions of the map attempt to play together, then it will cause a desync, instantly ending the game and forcing you back into the lobby where you will download and reconnect. It would then work in that lobby in specific, but the next time that host rehosts again with his outdated version, it will happen all over again. So while you can play with it, it's mostly inconvenient, and it can all be avoided by simply just updating your game and having the same version as everyone else. And of course, you just want the latest version of the map since it's the best version. This actually happens on all maps in my map pack, but the chance of it happening with AWAT Unknown is just more likely since that is the most common map you can find online being shared. If AWAT Unknown has not been shared with you before, you connect to a lobby with a person hosting AWAT Unknown, you should be fine. This problem only happens with people who carry the old version of their game. Anyway, very excited to present this new version of AWAT Unknown to you. A lot less Frankenstein looking, and it should be available within 1 or 2 days after Demeter's release, which is currently expected to be February 10th, and therefore the update can be expected by February 12th. If there's any delays, I will post on my channel accordingly, but until then, I look forward to seeing you guys. All videos relating to my newest update will be compiled into a playlist. The end screen of this video will be updated to contain the playlist once it's done. At the time of recording, I'm still working on the other parts, showcasing other things such as the new exciting AWAT Nomad. Thank you for watching and have a great day.
Fulham.